Welcome to the Life Hacks Show. Life Hacks gives you proof hacks and tips for the best version of yourself. And here's your crash test dummy for a better life, Marcus Meurer.
Yo, kennst du schon die Lagerbox? Für mich als digitaler Nomade einfach Gold wert. Ich habe keine feste Wohnung mehr und trotzdem habe ich noch ein paar Sachen, die ich nicht verschenkt habe, weil ich die vielleicht nochmal gebrauchen kann. Und wenn ich im Sommer dann mal wieder ein paar Wochen in Berlin bin, möchte ich so schnell wie möglich an meine eingelagerten Klamotten kommen. Und Self-Storage mit der Lagerbox ist dafür die perfekte Lösung. Ich habe in Berlin-Neukölln eine Lagerbox angemietet, in der jetzt gerade meine Sportsachen fürs Gym und für den Kampfsport und ich glaube noch ein wärmerer Kapuzenpulli liegen. Und wenn ich meine Lagerbox möchte, reicht dafür ein 4-stelliger Code, mit dem ich reinkomme und mir die Klamotten da raushole. Also für dich macht die Lagerbox auch total Sinn, wenn du als digitaler Nomade von überall arbeiten kannst, wenn vielleicht deine Wohnung zu klein ist, dein Keller nass oder feucht ist, du gar keinen Keller hast, du auf dem Auslandssemester bist und deine Möbel einlagern willst, du deine Akten auslagern willst, weil deine Wohnung dafür zu klein ist oder du E-Commerce machst und ein Lager brauchst. Die Lagerboxen gehen ab 9,95 € pro Monat los, sind alle videoüberwacht und insgesamt gibt es 18 Standorte in ganz Deutschland. Und ich habe jetzt mit den Jungs von der Lagerbox gesprochen. Als Lifehacks-Hörer bekommst du einen Transporter kostenlos on top beim Einzug. Jetzt auschecken auf www.lagerbox.de. Alright guys, welcome to a new episode of the Life Hacks podcast, and today I'm not alone, I'm together with Estela. Hey Estela.
Hey Marcus, nice to see everyone.
Yeah, nice to have you on the podcast. So where in the world are you now?
Yeah, so right now I'm based in Ubud in Bali, Indonesia.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Seems to be like a really hot spot for digital nomads, right?
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people arriving, especially now in March, April, it's going to be like super intense, like usually these 2 months of the year that when most people are coming. And yeah, great people, great projects. It's really exciting being here.
So there's still enough space for every nomad that is coming? Because when I'm in our community and the Facebook group, everybody is talking about Bali and going to Bali, and the flights go to Bali, they go to Canggu, they go to Ubud. So it feels like 90% of all the nomads I know, they're all on Bali now.
Yeah, a lot of people are coming. Like the island is pretty big, and as you said, that there are 2 hotspots, Canggu and Ubud. Like that's the 2 major spots. And I think that like March, April, like this time of the year, that you have a lot of nomads arriving because the rainy season just ended last week. So there are a lot of people coming, but actually it's just before the mass tourism. And that's when the island gets like super busy and crowded in June. So now it's still a good time because, you know, it's more local people, nomads, a little bit travelers, backpackers. You don't really have those big Chinese buses. And then when those come in, like in June, then that's when like, you know, you can't really move. Like traffic is terrible. And I think like the mass tourism has a much worse impact than nomads do.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there was a really interesting talk from Steve last year on the DNX in Bangkok about which impact have expats, tourists, and digital nomads on the local communities.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it's also something that's changing, or at least like I'm really a big advocate to see that change. And I think that like when nomads are coming in and it's smaller groups of people and people actually excited and interested in getting involved with the local community and learning a little bit about the different, you know, customs, traditions, like getting a bit more involved, maybe learning a little bit, a few words in Indonesian, then it's really different than when someone comes in, you know, just as a package tourist for a few days. And yeah, I think that nomads can have a really different impact, and I'm really looking forward to to see more that's happening.
Yeah, and I know especially in Bali with Steve from Ubud and also Michael from Dojo Bali, the 2 famous co-working spaces on the island, they are doing a lot of different approaches and projects to connect with the locals, right?
Yeah, it's coming along, but actually I think that we need some more work to be done on that side, that it really becomes like stable and more
Ongoing,
Yeah, so the thing is that, sometimes when people come in, that like, you come into Bali, then you need a little bit of time to get used to and like find your place and co-working space and coffee and accommodation. And it takes a little bit more time to be here, that you have extra time, that you can be volunteering on projects, you can go out to see communities and those kind of things. But actually, just this weekend, I would be really happy to talk a little bit about an amazing experience I had. We went on a local project called Five Pillars Foundation, and it's led by a Balinese guy, Vira. He's a really awesome guy, really young, but he's just really really aware and really conscious of like what is happening in Bali. And what he's doing, he's going out to to local villages in West Bali, and he's setting up and helping local people to get a bit more, like awareness around technology, helping the youth to learn about social media, about YouTubing, about content, about like all these new skills. And then he also organized these trips that he takes out digital nomads and like, foreigners to these villages and connect them to the local places. And we just went on these 2 days. It was amazing. Like I just had such a good time, and I learned so much about like cacao farms and chocolate factory and rice fields and like mushroom projects, and it was just really a local experience, and it was great seeing and getting a little bit like a more first-hand experience. And I don't know, like I even like personally I got really interested. I would love to help out with some of the projects. For example, they have great products, but they just don't really know much branding and packaging, and it wouldn't be so much like effort to actually help them a little bit to develop their product and branding, that they can be selling it to a wider audience. And it's just really exciting to see like how these projects starting to develop.
Yeah, I think this is a very big potential there, bringing together the knowledge like from the Western world, maybe how to do a proper branding and marketing and all this stuff. And these local guys, they know how to manufacture and how to get the cacao and all this stuff just from the island. And I think it's a good combination if you combine both worlds and help these people.
Yeah, exactly. And it was super interesting as well that, sometimes like I'm working a lot, and then sometimes I just realize that I'm in Bali, but actually I'm spending most of my time in a co-working space, and then getting away for the weekend and breathing fresh air and being out like really pure nature is just, it makes a difference, it's really, it makes a difference. Yeah.
And Bali is so huge, right? Most of the people are just stuck in Seminyak, Canggu, Ubud, or Uluwatu, but if you go deeper into the island, I think there are so many more nice spots to explore. I remember last year when we have been there, Philly and me, we went on this big mountain on the volcano. It was just stunning for the sunrise.
Yeah, exactly. Like all of West Bali and North Bali is just really deserted. Like you have a lot of local communities, but there is no foreigners and no tourists. And in a way it's good, I think, but it's also nice to see that, that maybe like how more sustainable community projects could be developed. And that's something that Vera was talking about, that they are planning to put on like a bamboo structure in one of the villages and have like an educational center for youth, that they can be learning about computing and technology, marketing, like all those things that you were saying. And then maybe have people coming out that, that like nomads could come out and live there for like a month or 2 months and actually get involved in the community. I think it would be an interesting project to see.
Yeah, totally. You're right. Do you have a link to the project you have been attending last weekend?
Yeah, I'm really happy to share. So maybe I can post it on a group or something, because I have to look it up.
I would put it in the show notes. You can send it afterwards, and I put it in the show notes of the podcast so everybody can look it up.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, because I'm really inspired, and actually like since I went on the trip just a few days ago, and I was posting pictures, and there's another like 4 or 5 people already like, hey, we want to go as well. And I think that like a lot of people want to go, but it's just the communication. Like we kind of have to build those bridges that people know that you can go on, and then the locals can know that they can receive foreigners. And I think it's still in a little bit, the dialogue is still developing. So I really agree with what you were saying about like Steve and a lot of people here as well, and in other places I think around the world are developing more consciously around these local projects and co-giving and these different forms of connecting digital nomads with the local culture. But I really see this is something that can be increasing in the next coming years.
Totally. I think it's just the beginning, and as the movement is so new, the whole digital nomad movement and people working from all over the world, I think it always takes some time until everybody finds his place and some new groups and movement gathers within this big movement, and we see it in all different aspects and all meta levels, that now it sharpens more or less the profile of where some people want to go and what is the approach of the other people and what values these groups stand. I think it's very important, and it's normal that it takes some time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can really see that happening, and actually that's one of the things that I'm the most like inspired and excited about, seeing this, like, the difference and the impact that what we can make on a global scale in the life of people. Yeah.
Totally. And I think we have a big responsibility because the whole world is more or less watching what these digital nomads and location independent entrepreneurs, freelancers, employees are doing right now, because it's a big hype still around us, but it's sustainable. I think we proved now that it's going to go on, and now we have to fill it with some content which is really valuable also for the rest of the world, and connect with the locals and not just doing the geo arbitrage like a one-way lane.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And this is something so interesting that we were just chatting with Vera about, that like you had this huge movement of people going and moving into cities for the past like 150 years, like, since the Industrial Revolution, like everyone's going to cities to get jobs. But that now what we are recreating and actually enabling ourselves to be working from wherever we are, we can actually start the movement back to the, to the land and to nature.
To the roots.
Exactly. And what is really interesting that, for example, these small communities, that the kids are starting to move into the cities for work, but actually there is not much work available anymore. And, you have these construction companies and you have these like really not so nice things that they can do, but actually they can't really make such a living. So if we can introduce things on the local level and they can actually stay still and make maybe a better income doing like freelance work or setting up their own enterprises, then they can kind of like skip this whole phrase of like industrialism, and that's quite exciting, I think.
Yeah, it's totally exciting. And I'm sure we are the pioneers of this movement going back into the more rural areas and not so touristy parts and not the big metropolitan cities. We see it, the countries which are not so developed, like they are still after the cities and think, wow, there's something happening and lots of going on and lots of people. But the people who can allow themselves to work from everywhere, there's also like already a relevant part, like Philly and me and you, who like to work somewhere not being in these big cities anymore. And we are meeting more and more people who like really are financial free, and they can choose wherever they want to live. And they don't want to live in Paris or Milan or London or New York anymore. We meet them in Jericoacoara in Brazil, in these small hippie towns.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's nice to go into the bigger cities. Like I really, appreciate going for a few weeks or for a month. And, I'm really looking forward to the DNX in Lisbon that you have coming up. And, it's a great way to connect with people and go to cities a bit. But otherwise, like personally, I just really prefer living in smaller towns.
Yeah, same for me. I'm always excited then for the bigger cities, like when we come back to Berlin for our home base. But then after 3 or 4 weeks, I always say, come on, Philly, it's time to go again. So we have seen everything. And what I also see is that after a certain duration, you start to adapt to the old system again. And then it's finally really a big alarm sign to move on again.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's something that I really like about Ubud, for example, that it's a small town and, you can get around with a scooter. It's really, yeah, it's like you can go around the whole town in like maybe 15 minutes or 20 minutes. You have really lovely like little cafes and small places, a few co-working spots, a lot of yoga and like kind of meditation and healthy lifestyle. But what is really cool that you also have, artists, you have a lot of music, and you have amazing like music nights and workshops. You have entrepreneurs and digital nomads. So I really feel that like, even though that, maybe I'm barefoot, like you don't have to wear shoes in the co-working space. place you can't even come in with shoes, right? And so you are barefoot and, like you are in nature, maybe with the swimming pool, but in the same time, you are involved with a lot of amazing people doing great projects, and it's super inspiring. And I really feel that there is a really there's a lot of like skill share, a lot of skill transfer, and actually you can get up to date and like keep learning even though that you are in a small town.
Yeah, I love it. You really feel the positive energy and the positive vibe once you're in Ubud and in Canggu. I think even more in Ubud. When I've checked into Ubud or the other co-working spaces, you can see everybody was very embracing, smiling, empathic, sharing, supportive. All these positive values, they come together in Bali. I think it's a very special location.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a little bit, I don't know, like how interesting is that for the audience, but I really feel that it's also, we can have this really positive and inspiring vibe also because of the local culture, because Balinese people are so friendly and so open, and they really like, they really keep the tradition. They really do all these ceremonies every day. And I really feel that they kind of like, they keep that balance between the different, like spiritual realms and the earth, and they really like give that, that vibe that people, when you arrive, then you just feel that, oh, everything is cool, everything is perfect, everything is easy. And I really feel that like Balinese culture has a lot that they are offering this to us, because otherwise, like, you can go to another country, and even if you just go over a few islands in Indonesia, then Muslim culture is really different, and sometimes like it's a little bit more like challenging to get around, or it's a bit more chunky. But in Bali, everything is just so easy and so smiley and positive, and people are amazing.
Yeah, I think it's a lot about the people and the welcoming culture they have. So you really feel like you're not under tension anymore, because you can't be under tension when everybody is friendly and smiling and happy. So you're always like the average of the people around you, and when they are all very peaceful souls and positive souls, I think you adapt very quickly. You can't not adapt.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, is it the same in Brazil?
It's different. It's different. Also here in Thailand, it's different. But in Thailand, it comes more close to Bali. People are very friendly, and it's very convenient to get around. And they also say Thailand is the country of the smile, so everybody's smiling. But on the other hand, it's somehow hard to connect. I think also with the Balinese people, to take some time, and sometimes they put themselves a little bit under yourself, what I don't like. So they just want to be polite and humble. But then on the other hand, in Brazil, it's easier for me to connect with the people, to go to do capoeira, to do BJJ, to go kite surfing. So yeah, they don't have any distance problems between you and them. They just approach you.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to check out Brazil as well. I haven't been yet.
Yeah, you should. It's so good. It's so cool there. So it feels like you're in this nomad movement development since ever. When did you start into your location independent lifestyle?
Yeah, so that's a tricky question. Actually, I started quite early when I was 18. I already left my country where I was born in, originally in Budapest, Hungary. But age of 18, I left to study in the US. And then after I went to uni in London, I studied in France. I lived in Mexico, in Peru, and I lived in so many different countries. But actually, I wasn't like, I was studying, I was working for NGOs, I was doing different projects. And then about 6 years ago in Spain, that's when I first started to do my first website, my first graphic design jobs. And that's like, I think I'm a nomad since then, maybe 2012 or 2010, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, it was hard in those times. Like some people can't remember or they can't imagine anymore. But also when we started out, there were no Airbnbs around and no co-working spaces in the tropical locations. So it was for us personally, Philly and me, was really hard to get around, to work from hostels because we were on a very low budget. And then there were the party people and we were working, and there were no co-working spaces. The internet was not so good like it's now with all the mobile providers. How was it for you when you started out?
Yeah, so actually, like it's just really funny because just today I thought about that the first job that I've done, it was in Mexico in 2010, and I was living in Mexico, and I learned a little bit about like web design and setting up WordPress sites, and I just like I just want to do a website for like some of the cafes, and I sold my first project in San Cristobal de las Casas for some of the cacao shop and a cafe and something, and that's when I first started. I didn't really know that, you know, what I'm doing, other people's doing the same. I just kind of, you know, there was the opportunity, so I took it. And after that, I was living in, actually, I wasn't moving around so much. I was traveling a bit, but I was more living on ecological farms in Spain and also in Portugal. So for me, it was just, you know, the way that to sustain that lifestyle, living out in nature and living in an eco farm, but still I needed to earn a living. So that's how I first started to my freelance career. And I didn't really, you know, think about that what I'm doing. It just made sense. It was just a really cool way of making money while I was still out in nature. And then slowly started to develop. And then in 2012, I think, that's when I had first, or 2013, I had first the idea that I just really felt like I wanted to go traveling in Southeast Asia. And I decided I'm going to go on a trip. And people were asking me like, you know, but how are you going to do it? And how are you going to fund yourself? And then I was like, well, I have a few clients. I'm going to just take them in my backpack, in my laptop. And then just before leaving Europe, a friend recommended me to check out Webwork Travel with Johannes. And actually, that was the first time that I read about, like, for me, it was like a huge aha moment. And just realizing that there is a movement out there and people actually living this. So I was going to Thailand just like super excited. And at first I landed in Chiang Mai and went to Pang Space. And I just really connected with this location dependent community, and I was like, wow, that's amazing that actually like I don't have to be alone anymore. So that was a really great like aha moment.
Yeah, actually, Johannes from Webwork Travel was also one of the first person we found in the internet when we started to work from everywhere without having the plan before. It just happened because I wanted to work on my website for my location-based business in Berlin, starting as a freelancer in online marketing. Yeah, but then coincidence came together and we started already taking the first clients while being on the road, and then there was no way going back. But once being living this lifestyle, we were thinking about there must be more people doing this. It's not a rocket science. Just take your laptop, get some clients, work from everywhere, and just go on traveling. So it was very exciting also for us at this time to find the first people on the internet who were actually also writing about this lifestyle, and it was like a micro community back then.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels that everyone kind of knew each other, and yeah, but I see that what you were saying, that I remember like traveling in Southeast Asia in 2014. There were a few spaces already opening in Cambodia and Thailand, but in between, like I was traveling a lot with different travelers and backpackers, and that was really challenging because they just didn't get that I have to like sit with my laptop. They were like, "Wow, why you are not coming and partying with us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because I have something to submit. Like I have a client waiting for me." And yeah, so that was fun times actually. I really had like an amazing journey. It was challenging, but it was also a lot of really good learning experiences.
Yeah, same for us. Same for us. I think once you manage how to work like in these circumstances back then, you can now work from everywhere and yeah, anywhere.
Yeah, and it's just really funny to think that it was just 2 years ago or 3 years
Yeah,
ago. It was,
yeah.
it just happened
It's
like now, and now I'm sitting in a co-working space. There is at least 50 people. You know, this space just opened. Right now I'm in Outpost, and it just opened this space maybe
should be
last
very
year.
nice.
Yeah, and it's only 50 people here. It just opened like a few months ago, and yeah, it's pretty amazing that how quick everything is developing.
Yeah, and they approached us some weeks ago, I think. So the community is still small. So once you start to do business there or do something, a project, I think it's nice that it's still very friendly and very supportive.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the best things actually. Like, the Project Freedom Summit I'm running is the best connecting with people and just really like developing relationships and like seeing that what everyone else is doing in this space. I think it's great.
Yeah, tell me more about your upcoming and your passion project Freedom Summit.
Yeah, cool. Well, I'm happy to. Yeah, so basically the idea came from being back in Hungary in end of last year. I was just, a lot of people always approaching me with the same questions about how I'm living this lifestyle, and just people are generally, I think a lot of people have questions about like, how can I get started? What's going to happen if this happens? What can I say to my clients? Like, is it secure? Is it safe? Like, how can I find accommodation? Like, people just have tons of questions, and I'm really
Is it
happy.
popular there?
Yeah, so I think that it's getting popular. Like basically you have a lot of like medias writing about it, you have a lot of articles coming out, and it's becoming more I think that 2-3 years ago, like no one heard about digital nomads. And then now if I go back to Budapest, then everyone's like, hey, here's Estela, like, she's a digital nomad, like everyone kind of like knows what is it about. But then I think it also raises a lot of new questions about, but how can I do it? Like I want to do it too. Like, what can I do next? And so what I felt being back in Hungary, that we had like a few layered talks and lots of people came. It was a lot of interest in, just learning more about this lifestyle. And I feel that personally, like I have a lot of experiences that I'm happy to share. But, like I know you, I know Johannes, I know so many people from the space that they also have so much great experiences and amazing projects. So I just kind of thought, okay, how can I bring all these people together to talk about, what it means to be location dependent, what are the challenges, what are the obstacles, what are the opportunities, and just where this whole movement is at. And I kind of wanted to do it in a virtual space that it can really reach people who are, like not traveling yet, or maybe sitting at home and they just want to tune in. So that's the reason that, Freedom Summit is a virtual gathering about location dependence, and also like, we're going to be bringing in some like more educative materials that people can start developing for themselves. And I just really want to create a virtual community and a virtual space that people can start getting into location dependence, maybe without needing to move at the first spot, but just really like working with themselves and learning about what things are possible, and then, just finding out like what direction they want to be taking.
It's so worthwhile to have a community, and that you don't have to do it alone, and that you have like-minded people around you who support you. Because still, I think it's the same in Hungary and Germany. It's like very unconventional. It's very old-fashioned, the whole working system in Germany. So when people decide to step out of the traditional system, there are many people who try to hold them back and to make them a lot of fear about everything, about failing, about how to fund themselves and whatever. So I think it helps that we started also the conferences in Germany, so everybody can relate to the conferences now. But still, it's tough if you have to start alone. And so this is like really worthwhile what you're setting up and creating now with the Freedom Summit.
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea that, yeah, like I really had that personal experience as well, like kind of breaking free from the traditional system. It takes a lot of energy. And for me, it's just being surrounded by people and just having the network. That's what makes me, that enables me to believe in myself. And that's how I can kind of move forward. And I think that that's something that a lot of people, that kind of need. And they are looking for, those networks, those communities, those things that, how can we just be stronger together and kind of like, just recreate this new lifestyle, because it's still like really experimental, right?
Yeah, totally. So which people already confirmed, or which people are attending and speaking on your Freedom Summit?
Yeah, we have a lot of great speakers, and actually that's the bit that I'm the most inspired by, just all the different people who are coming together, and all the interviews. I think it's going to be super valuable. We have, for example, Casey Fenton from Couchsurfing. He's the founder of Couchsurfing like 15 years ago. Like,
oh, nice.
Yeah, that's super cool. And then we have mindfulness coach Andrea. We have Steve from Hubud. Now, of course, you guys, like, you're going to be on it, and that's I'm really happy about. And we have Johannes, we have Stella from 22 Stars doing a great project in Africa. And yeah, we have a lot of really amazing speakers, and I think that that's going to be a really valuable content.
And how does it work if people are interested in participating or listening to the talks?
Yeah, so anyone is welcome to sign up on freedomsummit.online. And then on the 1st and 2nd of April, we're going to have a free weekend. And it's open for everyone. Everyone can come and like look in the program, which talks they're interested in, and then just tune in online. And then after that, we're going to have like a backstage pass that for people who want to have unlimited access to all the interviews that they can sign up on backstage. And also we are developing different guidebooks and different like course materials that's a little bit aimed at, I feel that, the summit's going to be a lot of inspiration and a lot of great ideas from people who's been living this lifestyle for many years. But usually the questions that I get that, it's great that someone's doing that, but how can I do it? So what we are developing is more like guidebooks that people can be filling out for themselves and kind of define what freedom means to them. What are the next steps they have to take? What are the situation in business, in skill set, in finances? What are the things that they have to develop in order to feel like more ready or more balanced, being location dependent?
Great. And how did it all came up? Is it you alone who started with this idea or created the team?
Yes.
How many people are involved now?
Yeah, so originally it was my idea, and then we have a small team now. We have 5 women. It's a completely remote team. We have Esmeralda, she's in Argentina now. Rennie, she's in Dominica. We have one lady in London, Dina, and Miranda's in in California. So yeah, we have a really remote team. We are working together. It's quite challenging as well because of the different time zones and things. But it's also a great learning experience that how we can, collaborate together on the project. And then we have over 20 speakers and then the community we just opened up backstage a few days ago, and we have quite a few people interested signing up. A few people has already joined, and we are really looking forward at how we can create the best experience for everyone.
Nice. And I just saw on your Facebook profile that you were also dealing with going into an entrepreneurial trap once you're so passionate and excited about a project that you sometimes forget why you all started this lifestyle. Maybe you can talk a little bit about this.
Okay, so again, what shall I talk about?
I saw a post where you were talking about that you're really nearly burned out and you're really doing a lot of things and forgetting about your core purpose why you started this lifestyle, to have more freedom for yourself. And this is what you can also be running into these traps again and again, also Philly and me. It happens again also to us recently.
Yeah, exactly. So that's something, it was 2 weeks ago, it was a sudden realization, and I think it was a really great wake-up call. It's just about, it's just about when you get really passionate about the project and you really want to do the best that you can, and then you start working more and more. And then I ended up just working all the time in co-working spaces, looking at the screen all day, don't even noticing that there is a pool right next to me, And I was like, whoa. So right now, for example, I'm experimenting with different processes. We also have a talk on the summit about energy management, manage your energy and not your time. And I'm starting to learn a little bit more about that, how I'm working 1 block in the morning, and then do some exercise, do something that just keeps my body in a better shape, and then do a little bit more work in the evening, and also do some workshops and social projects, and not just always just be working on the project, because actually that's not necessarily doing the best for, So I think it's a really interesting learning experience, and I really personally feel that it also comes a little bit together with this new wave that what we are creating with location dependence and digital nomad lifestyle, that people are realizing that actually it's not about working 8-10 hours a day, but it's about the quality of work that what we are doing. And for me, it's a big realization, because obviously I grew up in a culture as well that you just have to be working all the time. You have to be pushing, and doing more.
Hustle.
Yeah, and to get rid of that conditioning, old stuff, it's challenging.
Totally, because you're educated your value is how long you have been in the company, how long you sit there. It's calculated on your FaceTime, and that doesn't make any sense, because people are not equal productive. Some people are more productive, some people need a longer time, but at the end what counts is the performance and the output. And like you said, it's a big realization you have to make once you're in the progress of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and then I'm really looking forward to see that how this whole like time management, like work-life balance is going to be transforming in the next 10 years for people in general, because I just really have the feeling that, you know, the kind of like the what we have now with these 8 hours a week, that was developed just 150 years ago. So now it's like about time to shift, and I think it's going to be an interesting transition.
Totally, and I see it at myself. Once you let go and once you're not so tense anymore and not so desperate, then cool things happen. When you just go on the water and make a kite surfing session for 3 or 4 hours and come back, then all the magic happened. But on the other hand, when you're on the computer and trying and doing and hustling and get tense, then nothing happens. And I think people feel it somehow if you're like too stuck in something or if you can let go.
Yeah, I think that that's something super interesting that actually, yeah, I think it has a lot to do also with mindset, and it's almost like an evolutionary shift that a little bit I feel that what we are going through. And yeah, I'm learning it myself as well. It's really challenging, and I have to remind myself almost every day that, you know, take it easy, everything is good, and just ease into things. And yeah.
And I think it's what really helps, or what really helped me is to try to switch the focus from what is already there and not what I would like to have in my life, to focus on what is not there. I think it's so strong if you focus on like gratitude, exercises, what you're already fulfilled with and what is already in your life, and then it's a totally game changer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I feel that there is a lot, and actually I'm working quite a lot with like different mindset techniques as well, and meditation, and just really I like relearning almost everything that what I've been kind of conditioned into the beginning of my life, the first like 20 whatever years. And yeah, I think it's a big challenge, not like for everyone, and also, but that by coming together and like talking about it and kind of sharing different tools and different practices, we can really kind of grow together in this new mindset and create things that we can also prove that it works.
Yeah, totally. So coming to the end, what do you think about the status quo of the digital nomad movement, and what did you see recently in the last year, and what do you think about where will it go I would say in the next year or next 2 years?
Yeah, it's super interesting. It's really exciting times, I have to say. And I feel that it's really entering into, it's still a small movement. It's still far from being mainstream, but I feel that like it's kind of going that way. And then now it's not so unusual anymore that, you know, you say digital nomad, then people already like know what it means. They can't really relate to it always just yet. But I kind of see that in 2 years' time, you know, it can be something that people say like, oh, okay, so that's the choice that you made in your life, and that's fine. And I kind of like want to see that, you know, we get to that stage, because if that happens, then it means that we can be accepted, like, you know, this kind of new concept of living can be accepted and can be embraced by maybe government, schools, education, and then just different systems in society that can help people to have alternatives. And maybe it's not for everyone, and that's fine, but people who really want to be experiencing for a shorter period of their life or longer periods, then to enable them to do so.
Mm-hmm.
And also the other thing that I'm seeing, and actually I'm really keen on that, is that what we were talking in the beginning about the co-giving projects, and actually making a difference in developing countries, and really going to villages and like really bringing in skills and technology and those kind of things. Like that's something that really excites me, and I'm really looking forward.
Yeah, I also see different stages. Like Mahatma Gandhi once said, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, and then they fight you, and then you win.
Yeah.
And I think we already had these first two stages when they ignored you or they didn't get it, especially on our Facebook profiles. They were making jokes about me and my lifestyle, and they were laughing. And now they are taking it more and more serious. So I think it's a good development.
So which stage you think that we are in right now? Is it the fighting stage, or are we over of that?
I don't know if someone is really fighting us. I think the government just acknowledged that they can't do too much about us and the way we live. This is what I see, especially in Germany. Some politicians approach us and they are like fully open for discussions and for talks and not about making our lives even harder. So I think now we are in the process of discussions and communication with all the systems and maybe national states and everybody who could also benefit from the nomads as long as they are open for speaking with us. Because on the other hand, nomads are very creative, they are very smart, they always get a workaround, and so we are just too quick for these old systems to stay up to date for them. So better cooperate, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's a great last call. Thank you so much, Marcos.
Thank you so much, Estela, and see you soon, right?
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm so looking forward to attend you next. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, and have fun in Bali.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yes, yo, this was another episode of the Life Hacks Show. If you love what you're listening to and can use some of the tools and hacks we are sharing on the Life Hacks Show, I would be more than happy if you can give me a review or rating on iTunes. Follow me on facebook.com/Moira Marcus and just ping me and give me some feedback that would mean the world to me. So long, have fun, peace and out.